Okay, folks, Andrew Boltbros here. I want to review the stats from week 1 and week 2. So the Dolphins and the Titans review some of the good, some of the bad. There's a little bit of both. So, guys, let's get into it. Boltbros! Alrighty, folks, as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Boltbros, as you know. So let's talk about all things Chargers. So, guys, let's get into what it takes to actually go to the playoffs, folks. This is the newest article I could find. I think this is in 2021. Okay, folks, we are 0-2. That means we have a 22% chance of making the playoffs right now. Woo! That's okay. Well, you know, when we started the season, it was 44%. Now it's 32%. 0-1, 0-2, 22%. We lose again, it's 14%. I've even seen that number down to like 3 or 4%, right? So, but again, we're 1-2. It goes back up to 32%. So again, it's statistics. You want to hear a crazy statistic? The only team that's ever made the playoffs starting 0-4 was, guess who? The Chargers, Bobby Ross. We started 0-4. Actually went one of our best seasons ever, right? So look, it is what it is. The statistics, it just goes to show you, the concern of losing the locker room and all the above. So, that's building a bit of a narrative on the statistics portion of, this conversation. But again, it's something to keep in mind. Again, I do think the Vikings are a very winnable team, but we should have beaten both of our teams. We very easily could be 2-0 with this, folks. You know that. I know that, right? So let's talk more about it moving forward. So let's talk about the bright spots, right? Look, I really like what Kellen Moore is doing with Justin Herbert. You can argue there's been some questionable calls. I think Kellen Moore likes to do some pretty interesting things. It's interesting seeing all these Cowboy fans talk about how Kellen Moore is a wacky play caller, all the above. Look, at the end of the day, okay, sure, maybe. But again, one of the things that you're learning about Justin Herbert's, we're actually doing very well offensively. I'm going to review the offensive stats for the first 2 weeks, and it's very impressive. Justin Herbert looks really good. And Herbert's not the problem. Let me be very clear about that. And I'll also say Kellen Moore is not the problem. Okay. I do like this, by the way. I think it's amazing. He's got this machine gun. Obviously, it's some sort of audible at the line. I think I talked about this prior to the season starting, is that's what's happening. They're in 12 personnel, 11 personnel. What happens? They come in there. They have a certain set of packages of plays within the personnel that they're in. They're in Dagger. They're in Boise, whatever they want to call it. And clearly he's audibling to some new play. Now, I will say this against the Titans. We did I remember the last 3rd and 3, I believe in overtime, completely blown play. Justin Herbert audibled. Nobody understood what he was going to do, and it was a blown play. Now, that's a problem. But again, I also do believe that's kind of the joys of getting a new, offense installed, right? It does take time. So let's review the stats. This is where we're sitting currently in 2 games. Offensively in the league, right? So points per game, 629, rush passing offense, 11th, 240, which I think that number could be even higher. There was a few plays that I thought, I thought there were some penalties. I think the Titans got away with a lot, in my opinion. Rushing offense, 5th, folks, 147. Do you realize last year we were like 30th or 31st in the league in rushing? I think we were averaging like 70 yards. We're doubling the amount of yards per game. Again, it was against the Dolphins. For the most part, I think we only got 60-some yards against the Titans, but they have a great front 7. Total offense, 4th, 384 or 87 yards. Amazing. 3rd down conversion, 17th. That needs to come up a little bit. Red zone scoring, 17th, 60%. I do think both of those will come up. With Kellen Moore and Justin Herbert getting a little more familiarity with each other. Sacks allowed per game, right around the middle of the pack, 3 turnovers, first 0. Now, I will say this. I do think Justin Herbert's become a little bit conservative since throwing some picks, right? I do think that there's, some discussion points around that, right? That you could sit back and say, hey, get a little more aggressive with the ball, Herbert, move it downfield, yada, yada. I get all that. I don't disagree at all. Okay. I think it's a good thing. Let's talk about the bad, folks. Okay, let me say this. Let me just go through a couple statistics. Actually, well, let me do this. Let me show you guys. I know you guys want to rip this man's head off of his body at this point. I get it, folks. The Bolt Bros have read all of your comments. Okay, woo! Venomous. I get it. I get the frustration. I have some thoughts on this, and I want to talk about this, especially going into the Vikings game, right? And why I think we are going to win that game, folks. So, look, the sky is not completely falling yet, but, we go 0-4. Whew, yeah, it's going to be bad. So, all right, Tuli looked great. We talked about that on our live. I'm just a huge fan of this guy. He's 20 years old, folks. 20 years old. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit unconvinced of him. I mean, what do I know, right? This is where Brandon Staley's very good at understanding people and players. Great draft here. He's been amazing. By the way, Q needs to be utilized a little more as well, too. Again, that's the offensive side of the ball, but he's in a very crowded room. Tuli is thrown into the fire, and he is looking good. Look at that. Taking Tana Thrill down. Now, I like this. Face mask, canine, aggressiveness. This guy was a straight up beast, folks. Again, I don't want to go too deep into it, but I'm just excited. Those two guys, I did not expect to be as good as they were. They did a great job. Now, let's talk about the defense, guys. Now, here we go. I'm just going to review the defense as a whole, and then I'm going to talk about some statistics that we saw against the Titans that are going to go, whoa, not good, folks. And I'm going to give you some of my reasons as to why we struggled so bad against the Titans and also Miami. Okay, where do we stand? By the way, we are the most expensive defense in the NFL right now. $110 million this year. And people say that Dean Spanos does not want to spend money. He's spending money. Brandon Staley, say what you want. He actually got Dean Spanos to spend money. So, look, he did. Maybe in the wrong areas, right? I think, some of these aged out players are struggling now because of their age. Points allowed, 30th. We are giving up 31 points a game. Wow. Passing defense, 32nd, 333 yards per game. Now, again, that was largely because of Miami. It's a little skewed at this point. I think we only gave up 240 last game. Against the Titans, rushing defense, 15th. Guys, you know what's crazy about that? We were 4th or 5th in the league against the pass last season. Rushing defense, 15th. Crazy. Now, again, I have a whole nother conversation around that when I review the Titans statistics, just straight for the Titans. Total defense, 32nd. We are dead last in the league. 438 yards a game. Not good. Third down conversions, we're giving up. We were 24th in the league, 45% conversion rate. That's bad. It's bad, folks. Red zone defense, we're 19th. Not good either. 66%. Sacks per game. 14th, 2.5, right? We got 5 sacks last week. Takeaways per game. 16th. We're +1 in the takeaway category. Lottie freaking da. So where does this leave us, folks? Like, where does this conversation leave us? Where do the Chargers sit? Are we excited? Are we happy? Like, okay, let's just review a couple last statistics here. Okay. Ryan Tannehill completed 20 of 24 passes at 83.3%, making the second highest completion percentage in his damn career, folks. Best clip since 2013. Yowzers. Okay. I'm going to give you a reason why I think that's that happened. Now, Tannehill really made it on 2 plays. A 71-yarder to Treylon Burks and a 49-yarder to Chris Moore. Yeah, pretty much no-name wide receivers for the most part, folks. But look, he looked like an absolute stud. Now, and again, most of his yardage went to those 2 people. That was pretty much it. And really, the game came down to those 2 plays and a few other penalties that I thought were pretty stupid. We could talk all about that. Again, the Chargers, statistically speaking, with this loss, the Chargers became the first team in NFL history to go 0-2 and begin a season scoring 50+ points without any turnovers. It's not the offense, folks. It's the defense. Now, I want to give you my reasons why. I'm going to go back to Justin, or I'm going to go back to Brandon Staley's photo right here. Again, I like Brandon Staley. I think he's a great leader. I think he is a good head coach. But again, this is what I think is happening. Again, Kellen Moore has done a great job defensive or offensively. He's done an awesome job. But one of the biggest things that I'm seeing, and I saw again with Miami and also what I saw with the Titans and really going back into the latter end of last season, is bottom line, the NFL has figured out how to beat Brandon Staley's defense. Okay. And really, Brandon Staley's defense is a big proponent of running cover 6, which is basically, a lot of people call it Vic Fangio cover 6. Anyways, it's a pass coverage where the Chargers split the field in half, one side playing cover, 4 2 deep defenders playing quarter, splitting the field, right? It's essentially a zone. Every single team runs it differently, though, folks. That's one of the things you have to understand. Vic Fangio runs it differently than Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley says, hey, look, if this guy runs in the flat, pack them up, pass them up to the Mike linebacker. There's all kinds of caveats. Well, Miami knew what to do, and they exposed this. And I guarantee Tennessee saw what Miami did to us and said, hey, we'll have a couple shots downfield, and we'll beat them. Brandon Staley, here's my point, needs to adjust or die. The problem is he is not adjusting his defense because the NFL is figuring out his defense. Okay. He is not a number one defensive coordinator in the league right now. We just saw the statistics. He has the most expensive defense in the league, and he is not producing. That's the end all be all of that conversation, folks. Right. And again, cover 6, we can split hairs about what's good, what doesn't work well, all the above. Again, Brandon Staley, if you're listening to this, please just go back to the basics. Keep it real simple for your football players. Do not overcomplicate things. Double team Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Okay. The running game is crap. They're not good. Just double team those two guys. Do not let them beat you deep. That's the story, folks. It's not that complicated. For whatever reason, Brandon Staley, I think this game is going to really determine a lot. Again, I can go back to that chart. Again, you go 0-3, you have a 14% chance. I've also seen 3%. It's either 3 or 14%. It's not looking good if you go 0-3. Again, we should beat the Raiders, but we should have beat every team in front of us right now. So, look, bit of a long-winded video, but I want to get your thoughts. I know you guys are all frustrated and stressed out about the statistics here. Guys, what do you think? Agree or disagree with me? What are your thoughts on Brandon Staley? Again, I wanted to throw out all the statistics I could possibly find and give you at least some general information of understanding where this team stands now. Guys, as always, Andrew Boltbros. See you guys in the next one.